Have you ever seen a tree getting hit with a lightning bolt? Well, that's exactly what's about to go down in chapter 23 of Two Blue Vortex, with Boruto using his signature purple lightning to jolt Jura with a huge shock. With the reveal of this sneak peek, it seems like he still has a chance against his sentimental tree type of opponent. But can we take this reaction of Jura as a good sign for the young lord? Or is it just an expression of being impressed with how capable Boruto is? Well, let's begin with understanding the possible symbolic weight behind this sequence and how it might even put the Shinju into a tough spot. It could even be a sign that he has just sensed the presence of some other entity within Boruto who could potentially become a big bad news to him. But let's keep that for later and focus on the real deal. So in real life, the electrical surge targets the moisture of that tree, which is sap and water, causing explosive vaporization, splintering, or fires due to the extreme heat, which can go up to 30,000 Celsius. The trees with high moisture content or dense structures are particularly vulnerable as the current follows conductive paths, often shattering the bark or splitting trunks. The electric nature of the lightning also disrupts organic systems, potentially weakening roots or internal structures over time. In Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Jura is a living god tree, a being derived from the tentacles with wood release, and a chakra-based physiology. His body likely contains chakra, similar to moisture or energy pathways in a tree, making it a potential conductor for lightning-based attacks like purple lightning. Additionally, lightning-style jutsu in the Naruto universe are known to counter earth and wood release due to some elemental advantages, which could amplify purple lightning's effectiveness against Jura, who's also a master of wood release-based abilities. Now let's recap what had happened in the last chapter. Boruto referred to Jura as a tree, and while it was something which should have made him angry, based on how he's more than that, it seems like what Kishimoto tried to foretell us in this panel was that Boruto is about to get a little edge over Jura. Surely this attack isn't going to destroy the Shinju, as that wouldn't make sense. So what we are expecting here is a small edge, which would get the shinobi some more time to reach a safer place. The main deal of this chapter is either way going to be Momoshiki or Kawaki, but let's understand why the purple lightning could open the door for a miracle. There have been two times when he saw someone use an electric attack on the Shinju. First, it was when Sarada used the Chidori on Hidari, and as you can tell by his reaction, he did get affected by this technique. The other time it was Bug, who got jolted by Boruto's lightning attack, and while it's hard to say whether it's the same attack that he used on Jura, we can see Momoshi getting bruised by the hit, but he instantly switched to another attack, with only pausing for a moment. Now so far, the lightning attacks have shown to either hurt or stun the Shinju creatures, and when we talk about Jura, who gets seen as nothing more than a tree by Boruto, there's a chance that the purple lightning would be super effective against him, and here is why. Firstly, as I explained earlier, lightning is superior to wood style in the Narutoverse, and even the real life example says the same. However, what puts Jura on an even greater disadvantage is the fact that he's covered in the claw marks throughout his body, which are made from iron, which is a good conductor of electricity. Now take a look at Jura from head to toe. The claw marks are spread all over his body, so not only would he face hindrance as a result of being a tree, but also due to the claw marks, which would make him feel the shock in every cell of his body. And if all these assumptions are correct, then Boruto may have found a really huge counter to Jura, which is purple lightning. And if you think about it, his name translates to bolt, which may be a small Easter egg on how he will counter his most powerful enemy. So Boruto is using the power of electricity to take down Jura, as his biological composition, which is full of wood and iron, could increase the destructive potential of the lightning attack. So could this be Boruto's way of putting an end to the life of the Shinju boss once for all? Well, if this isn't the final time we are seeing Jura in this story, then Boruto might somehow escape from the scene and then work on a more powerful lightning attack, which would mark an end to Jura's life. Now here is something interesting that I noticed. As we all know, the Nostradamus of the verse, Koji, has made it clear that Boruto has no chance of survival in every possible future. But how come are people not talking about the time when he foresaw Boruto dying against Kawaki, yet he somehow survived? Jura has hinted at some god protecting the prodigy, which may be why the visions of Koji are failing. First off, because what he sees are the normal pathways of destiny without divine interference, and the ones which are going to take place in reality are based on Shibai's will, something that Koji cannot look into even if he wants. But there must be some things that prevent Koji from seeing those futures. For example, in case of this battle from chapter 78, it was the interference of Sasuke and the others that he couldn't catch. Furthermore, the future that Momoshiki saw, which showed us Kawaki with the horn, was only missed because he couldn't take in the possibility of Sarada sending help to Boruto. So what if the same is about to happen with the Jura battle, just because he couldn't catch a setup which is about to reflect in the future? Well, what if I told you there might not be one but multiple such things that Koji missed, and now they are going to give Boruto a huge advantage on top of helping him to escape the battle. First off is the purple lightning. Koji might not have the knowledge of how Boruto is about to counter Jura, as the futures that he foresaw may have shown him Boruto instantly dying by getting hit by the Biju bomb laser blast. So a future where the prodigy was actually fighting Jura might not be something that Koji saw, just because he did not take into account for the possibility of a fight. And what he actually saw was just the wrath of Jura, as he would have killed Boruto with a single shot in each of those futures. Now the next thing that he did not account for while using prescience could be the information that Boruto passed down to Kawaki about his limiters. What's interesting is that Kawaki went straight to Amaru after finding out that he's being nerfed, and looking at the current circumstances, it could be the perfect timing for him to go and appear on the battlefield to save Boruto. Now the next and my favorite possibility, which makes the most sense to me, is that Koji couldn't catch the emergence of Momoshiki, as he couldn't look into the future in which the entity emerges, as the takeover takes place in a spiritual plane in the words of Aida. She herself couldn't look into the time when Boruto got possessed, and that's only because her Shinjutsu is limited to the mortal plane. So assuming Momoshiki is about to utilize a different plane of existence to appear, which can also be seen as a realm where time stops, there's a high chance for him to emerge and save the life of the vessel. And Koji would have never been able to see this future due to the complexity involved, and that may be why he saw Boruto dying in every possible future, cause the ones where he survived are away from his scope of knowledge. Well, now that we have reached the topic of Momoshiki, let's get a better insight into what actually led to this reaction of Jura when he touched Boruto. Was it really the purple lightning that shocked him, or was it something else that has secretly been teased with this panel? In almost every Jura or Momoshiki related discussion from the past 1 month, I have been saying that the Shinju could have his past memories of the time when he was a Ten-Tails. The proof lies within the statement where he quickly identified the Senringan and its power to look around anywhere in the world in real time. But what's more crazier is that he might be hiding a lot more things than simply knowing about different sorts of dojutsu. Like, what if he would have flashbacks of Momoshiki or Ishiki after he senses them through Boruto and Kawaki? That's a really strong possibility based on how he must have seen them entering this dimension. And when we take a look at this panel with that knowledge in mind, it could be that he did sense Momoshiki here, and that's why his reaction seems a bit strange. He already knows he's far superior to his opponent, then what's the need of getting shocked like this all of a sudden? Well, it could be that Jura has felt the presence of Momoshiki within Boruto after coming this close to him, and now he would be curious to find out why Momoshiki is trapped within him, which would likely be a setup to their second battle, where it won't be Boruto but his Otsutsuki companion Momoshiki who could bully Jura to death. So there is an equal chance for Momoshiki and Kawaki to emerge in this battle, as Koji has missed the setups which could have made him see the futures of their emergence. Momoshiki's possibility is kind of on the higher end, cause there is no way Koji would have seen him taking over Boruto with his ability. Now there are a few ways for Momoshiki to gain an even upper hand in this fight, based on how Jura seems to have been startled by sensing his presence. Previously I talked about Momoshiki stopping time to gain an edge over Jura, or even destroying him in this state, but looking at this potential reaction of the Shinju after sensing his presence, it seems like there's a lot more that Momoshiki could do than using some cheap tricks like resorting to time stoppage. First off, the Otsutsuki could utilize all the new abilities of Boruto and amplify them to a great extent. Like, imagine Momoshiki creating shadow clones after hijacking Boruto, and then all of them would use their feet to charge for the Uzuhiko. The impact would be too high and could even get Jura on his knees. Now you could say that he has already figured out a counter to this power. Well, can he actually neutralize the Uzuhiko if he gets stunned by the purple lightning at the same time? The number one reason for me to believe this comes from how Jura could have the lightning jutsu as a major weakness. Even in case of Mamushi, we could see him get bruised and kind of stunned for a moment. So what if that's exactly how Jura will be destroyed by Boruto? He doesn't even need Momoshiki if he's able to pull this off. Just let one of the clones use the purple lightning to stun the Shinju, and then use Uzuhiko by yourself to destroy him. It's one of the possible ways which could grant him an edge, and the involvement of Momoshiki could make it a lot more impactful. Now as for the final possibility that Koji hasn't accounted for, are the limiters of Kawaki which were holding him back this entire time. Chapter 23 is the same chapter where Kawaki made his debut in part 1, so it seems like he would make his entry into this fight with a brand new form as well. This is because Boruto himself knew that Kawaki and him combined could somehow defeat Jura, and it's his belief in this possibility which made him make his counterpart aware about the limiters that Amado had installed in him. So as for how it makes sense for them both to crush Jura, could be the combination of some deadly techniques. It reminds me of the prologue, where Kawaki said that he will send Boruto to the same place where he sent Naruto. In simple words, he wants to seal him. So what if that's exactly how he will get rid of Jura as well? It's a theory that I never discussed before, but it now makes sort of sense since Boruto has discovered a way to stun the Shinju. So the only way to seal someone using the Daikokuten is by using this technique when they are static. And looking at Jura's speed and strength, it might not be that easy to seal him, but at the same time, it's the only way to get rid of him since he is renowned as the unkillable at this point. It could also be the reason Kawaki wants to seal Boruto in the future, which contradicts his original plan, which was to kill him. So Boruto somehow has scaled to a level where Kawaki feels like it's easier to seal him than to kill him. Now let's recall all the possibilities for the Jura threat to finally come to an end. First is the awakening of the Jogan, as teased in the cover art of chapter 22. It would bring some massive attention to the series, as all the anime only fans and Jogan believers would catch up with the manga, similar to what happened during Omnipotence. Then we have Momoshiki using the giant Rasengan to kill Jura, cause the prologue sequence has shown us Boruto with the torn sleeve, which could be a result of using this technique. And looking at how Koji has never mentioned Momoshiki while using prescience, just because all his conversations take place in a spiritual plane, it's a highly plausible possibility. And finally we have Kawaki, first because of the hints of the chapter number, and secondly to bring forward the next big thing in the story, which would eventually lead us to the Shinobi Extermination Saga. The revival of Akebi could come with a backstory that would change Kawaki, and that's how we might reach this scene from the first chapter. But before that, he would somehow need to get rid of Jura, either by unlocking the true powers of Ishiki, which include using some abilities that the Otsutsuki never used, or by strategically using the Daikokuten to seal away the Shinju once for all. You can watch these videos to get an in-depth insight on what I believe is about to happen in the future chapters. I will see you next time.